the closed session didn't fit after that. That's because we had all these other ones. That's what it was. So we'll go ahead and adjourn the city council meeting. I'll go ahead and call that adjourned, and we'll call to order Fairway Estates.
Yep. We'll go in alphabetical order. Fairway Estates, the
Fairway Estates
municipal
Special
building,
District
and then the
Meeting.
redevelopment agency.
And we'll call this meeting to order, and I will pull up the agenda. Fairway Estates. All right, the first item on the agenda for the, it's not a public hearing though. For the Fairway Estates Special Service Recreation District is public comments. Anybody who'd like to address the Fairway Estates Special District Board? This is your opportunity to address the board. We have public comments on the agenda. You'll have 3 minutes. It's the same as in the regular council meeting. I'm seeing none in the room. Is there any online who would raise their hand?
Chair, there are several people online, none of which have raised their hand.
All right, we'll go ahead and close public comments then and go to business item 3A on the agenda. This is resolution number 014, adopting the tentative budget for the West Jordan Fairway Estate Special Service Recreation District for fiscal year 2025 and setting August 13, 2024 as the date for the public hearing regarding adoption of the final budget and setting the property tax rate. Mr. Anderson, am I turning this over to you, or who's
Ms. Steck is online and can go over this with you.
Oh, wonderful. Denise.
Thank you, Chair. Alan, you want to go to the next slide for me for a moment? I'm just going to go over a couple of brief slides, just going over the tentative budget prior to asking for you to consider Resolution 14. The first one you saw at the meeting when you accepted the budget, and that is that we're proposing in the Fairway Estates District a property tax increase. This was something that we reviewed with the residents in this area, and this was something that they supported last year. And so we're going to move forward with that. That's why we're requesting that public hearing on August 13th. It'll be the same evening that you consider a property tax, possibly consider a property tax increase for the city. A property tax increase for an average resident in this area would be $19 a year or $1.58 a month. Alan, we go to the next slide, please. Revenues to expense, as you know, and as we reviewed with the residents in this area last year during a public meeting, as well as a kind of a town hall meeting, their expenses are outpacing the property tax revenue that they receive in this fund, and they are dipping into reserves. The reason for the increase is twofold. One is that the landscaping contract, the cost for labor has increased over time, and that contract is actually up for bid this year, and we anticipate a cost increase in that. And then we've seen an increase in the utilities, and that has to do with the landscape meter water rates and the amount of water that's being used in that area to water the lawn space there. So our estimate for this year, we're going to receive $10,000 in property tax, and we're going to be spending about $20,000 in operations and maintenance for the area, which means we're going to be using reserves of about $7,200. The reserves are very healthy. Annual property tax is only $11,000 a year, but our reserves are at like 4 or 5 years worth of property tax, which is why we propose to the residents kind of taking our time and increasing that tax rate a little at a time and using some reserves to do so. The reserve balance is $42,000 at the end of this year. With the proposed property tax increase, we'll see property tax at $11,146. We'll receive some interest on their reserves. And then we see that their budget is almost flat. It's not all the way flat, but it's pretty close. Again, we're anticipating that increase in labor for the landscaping services. So we will be anticipating in this budget dipping into reserves even with the increase, but we will still remain healthy at $33,000. Alan, can you go to the next slide? All right, this is our 5-year plan. So I would be concerned, right, that you're dipping into about almost 20% of the reserves every year. So we have a 5-year plan to slowly increase those property taxes. This year we would increase 10%, next year another 10%, and then 15% each year thereafter. You can see in that second column that our intention is to use the reserves over time, but reduce that use. And then in the third column, you can see what the reserve balance is, should our estimates be exactly as they are presented. By our year 6 or 7, we should be easily out of the woods and have property tax at a level where it can sustain operations, and we'll just have a small reserve amount. Those reserves are really not needed for much other than maintenance every now and then, but we did do a large maintenance project 2 years ago in the district, and we believe that the infrastructure that's in there will maintain itself for quite a considerable amount of time. We're anticipating, though, that we want to build those reserves back up to about a 1-year collection rate. So we would like to hold them at about $10,000 a year. So that's all I have for you. I would like for you to consider Resolution 14, adopting this tentative budget. That will mean that the tentative budget will sit in place and it will operate as your budget until such time as you adopt a top property tax rate increase on August 13th. So the August 13th would be your public hearing, which is Tuesday night. That's unusual for us, I know, but that is the night the county has assigned. And then the following night on August 14th, you will consider the adoption of the annual budget and you will set the property tax rate at that time. As you adopt this tentative budget, it is proposing that 10% increase. Just know and be aware that you cannot go you cannot go over the 10% increase. It would have to be less than that. So should you want to consider something other than that, then we would need to do so tonight. That's all I have. So I'm going to hand it back over to the chair and for consideration. Thank you.
Thank you. We do have a couple of comments or questions from the council. We'll go first to Councilmember Lamb.
Thank you, Chair Jacob. Denise, I had 2 quick questions. On the previous slide, there were operation costs of $85.25, and it was the same last year and or this year and the coming year. So does water fall under the $85.25?
It does. And I know that there's a slight increase in the water rate, but when I spoke with the department, they said that they didn't believe that there would be an increase in this operational budget.
Okay, great. And then my second question on the previous slide, I don't know if you can go to that one, Alan. I see a monthly cost here, but correct me if I'm wrong, don't they just get the $200 cost taken out at one time when all taxes are taken? There's no monthly cost, right?
It depends, right? When your mortgage company, if you have a mortgage, your mortgage company typically holds an escrow account for you, and they make that payment, and then they increase your mortgage payment by whatever the difference was. So if they
I guess
did
my
not,
question is, it says per month. Does anybody pay per month, or do they pay all at once with the 200?
They pay all at once if they own their home, but if they have a mortgage, they pay by month. They don't pay the tax commission by month, but they pay their mortgage by month, which includes the amount for this tax.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yeah.
Councilmember Green.
2 questions now. Does the landscape meter in this area that we're landscaping, does it have be able to be read through the AMI tower? The reason why I'm asking is it seems a little bit, I'm trying to figure out why the water usage is up $8,500 a year. That's a lot of water. And are we watching that? Do we know what's causing that? Anyway, I'm just concerned of an increase of $8,500 in water rates that are water costs. And I'm concerned maybe we're overwatering, but I'll just leave it out there. The second question that I have is, how are we doing this process? I've seen two different things that say we're going to meet on the 13th and then on the 14th, or I'm also heard we're just going to meet on the 13th for holding the truth and taxation hearing and approving everything. So what are we doing?
Well,
Council, that would be, or board, sorry, that would be up to you. You could hold one meeting on August 13th and listen for a public hearing and adopt at the same time. In the past, what we have done is we have held your regular council meeting where you take care of business on the 14th, but I don't have a preference. I will be there whenever you tell me that we need to be there.
yeah, that's a scheduling question for for us to decide. We do have a regularly scheduled council meeting currently scheduled for the 14th,
Okay.
but we haven't done agenda planning that far out yet, so we're not sure exactly how that's going to play out, but stay tuned. We'll
No,
have.
but the reason why I ask is because I have seen something that said, I thought I saw an email that said we're going to eliminate the meetings on the 14th and just do everything on the 13th.
That may yet happen, but it hasn't been determined.
Okay, I'm
officially yet.
just gonna voice my opinion now that I think we need to hold the public hearing and then the next night. Otherwise, honestly, it makes it look like truth and taxation is just is for show and it doesn't mean anything, that if there is any fundamental changes, we don't have time to make it. And I just think that means like it's already a done deal. So I'd rather see those on two separate nights.
Thank you. Any other questions or discussion on resolution 014 or a motion? Councilmember Bloom.
I
Board
move
Member
to,
Bloom, sorry.
thank you. I move to approve resolution number 014, adopting the tentative budget for the fiscal year. Oh,
Let's go ahead and finish that.
oh, sorry. For the West Jordan Fairways Estate Special Service Recreation District for the fiscal year 2025 and setting August 13th, 2024 as the date for the public hearing regarding the adoption of the final budget and the setting of the property tax rate.
Councilmember Shelton.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Board Member Bloom, seconded by Board Member Shelton. I think as far as discussion of the motion, I think we need to throw in that 10% number into this resolution, unless it's already in the resolution, which I guess I should look at.
It isn't specifically in the resolution and it doesn't need to be, it needs to be in the budget. And so it is in your adopted budget.
Perfect. Okay, so it's in the tentative budget, so it's in there. Okay, wonderful. Discussion of the motion, Board Member Whitelock.
Thank you. I just want to make it clear that we held many meetings with the people that live in this special taxing area last year. And what we're voting on tonight is really what they asked us to do. So therefore, I'll be in favor.
Thank you. Any further comments? Seeing none, let's roll call vote.
Thank you. Board Member Whitelock.
Yes.
Board Member Green.
Yes.
Board Vice Chair Lamb.
Yes.
Board Member Bloom.
Yes.
Board Member Shelton.
Yes.
Board Chair Jacob.
Yes.
Board Member Bador.
Yes.
Thank you. That motion passes 7-0.
Thank you. Now we have a consent to approve the minutes from our last meeting on May 8th. Councilmember Whitelock, Board Member Whitelock,
Move to approve consent items.
Second.
a motion by Board Member Whitelock, seconded by Board Member Bloom. Discussion to the motion to approve the minutes. Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? See none. So that rule that passes unanimously. That is the end of the agenda for the Fairway Estates meeting. So we'll call that one adjourned and we'll call to order the municipal